evening and welcome to my channel. Sharon here, and thanks very much for coming along. I've got a travel journal here that I've made as a custom order, so I thought I'd do a quick flip through. It is very early in the morning again, and I've got lighting on, and it's a very dull morning, so my lighting may not be great. I've got shadows I can see there. No, there. When you look, it's the wrong way round, don't you? Okay, so I've tied this up with some sari silk. I've got a little passport charm that I've put on with a jump ring onto the sari silk, and I've got a suitcase and a camera charm. I can turn it round there, hanging down. And then I've tied it with this sari silk that's attached, just tied to, I think they're called hitch posts, I believe. This is one of those little, one of my using up my card supplies I made. I'm not sure if it's come out yet or not. By the time this comes out, might have done. So I used Tim Holt's correspondence paper, or paper chase or something, and then his the ephemera that went with it that my friend very kindly gave me. It goes on the front. Done a small cluster on the front, made one of my own tickets here out of some file folders, and then you open up. I've put just map pages here. This is from the this is the antique maps from the Digital Collage Club, which I had tea dyed, collaged a library card, a library pocket, and got a library card. And again, this is from some other ephemera from Shabby Dabby Doodah. That's these little tile things from the Digital Collage Club that I've made bigger rather, and that's Tracy labels. And this is some of the ephemera from Tim Holtz, and I've put a doily on and put some of my little splashes on. You'll see some of them throughout. So that goes in there. This again is a normal map page, and in here though I've got a vintage check from 1835. I picked these up, and as you can see where it's been folded like that already, and I think that goes inside there. Went inside there like that. But I got these from the local auction house a few months ago, I think it was. So I've just put that on with one of those little small clips. This is a vintage, well, I think it was going back to the 60s, airmail envelope that I just folded up the bottom. I didn't bother decorating, just put a little, again, one of these little, this is a piece of paper actually that was left over from the Digital Collage Club antique maps. This was a piece of cutout from the paper pad from Tim Holtz that I've put on there, and some of my faux tape. And I've just clipped it on with a bulldog clip. And inside is just a journal card. I think these came from Create with Scrimping Mummy that it was a freebie ages ago. This is handmade paper as well. And I've put on the back here a postcard, vintage postcard from, this is from Seville. I got a local second-hand shop over here. This again is a vintage tender document that I got again in that lot from the auction house. So this is all original vintage papers I've used as well. And this is a postcard from Russia of the Catherine's Palace and grounds from the 1960s. I found them at the second-hand shop. And I've used rusted paper clips as well, which is actually putting rust onto the document, which is quite nice. And then I've got my sayings, my travel words rather, which are available in my Etsy shop. Wherever you go, go with all your heart. I've got quotes and words. stamp down the bottom there. Some lace. I'm using crocheted lace on this. Vintage book page, one of my quotes. I stamped some stamps onto some material, textile, and then just backed it with that vintage music paper. Page from the kit. Again, from Digital Collage Club, a vintage photo from the 1930s. And again, this is from Create with Scrimping Mummy, I'm sure it is. It's a vintage book page, and in here, again, use one of the rusty clips. I've got another vintage photo. I got these at a flea market. That was the first one I'd ever found over here. And I got a whole big box of postcards and photos for €5. And this is a front from an antique book, vintage book I picked up at the second-hand shop. But I loved this. It's got Barcelona on, but I thought you could write on there. I've got the fly paper that is like that as well. So I've just put them in there. Stamping. And here, ruffle. And again, some old vintage paper. Book page. And then this is from 1968, an envelope front. All I had was the front. Again, I picked these up at the auction house. And I've just got a card from Scrimping Mummy. I've backed everything, and I can't remember where this came from. And a bit of my faux tape on it there. But it didn't fit, so I just made a small tuck here. Put a bit of chipboard stamp. I don't know where I got it from. No idea. I made just a small tuck and some stamping, and another photo goes in there. I got this is a book I picked up at the second-hand shop again, and it's got all different languages in it. So I've got Italian here and Indonesian here. Travel brings power and love back into your life. Again, one of my quotes on my kit. Some dyed ledger paper, crocheted lace, and this was... Where was this? I can't remember. Oh, no, a friend gave me this. She didn't want it. So I went through this box of stuff, and it had, I don't know, probably the UK. I'm assuming America did the same. This is dated 1960, the receipt. And it's one of those where you used to get your negatives one side and your photos the other. Timothy White's was a shop in the UK from years ago. This, I'm not sure where this came from. And it's one of those old reels. It looks Dutch or Belgian. That was in the, I think that was in the box. And then this is another vintage photo. A charm, the Eiffel Tower, some crocheted lace. Onto some of that, I've forgotten the paper. From Roxy's Creations, straw paper. Antique map, well, vintage, not antique, vintage, from the 1960s. I've remembered where I got these things from, and that was from my daughter-in-law. So it must have been the 90s, early 2000s. She used to do scrapbooking, and when I went to see her in Dubai, she asked me to go through her. She got a suitcase full of stuff, so I brought some things back, and that was one of them. This is a large tag, can't remember where I got it. I tea-dyed it, but it came through. And again, I've got a vintage tea cards here. These were, I think, from the late 50s. British birds. So I've just put that in there. I didn't like that. So I've put that in there. Ruffle made out of some of the material that I covered the cover in, some matte material. And then again, this is from a map from the 1960s, a book, map book. One of my quotes, and two cards that I cannot remember where I got them from. Some of my tape, and then a little collage down there using Tracy labels. And this is sari silk from the front. Done some more stenciling, crocheted lace. Again, another vintage photo, and one from Create with Scrimping Mummy, not Crimping Mummy, and one of the rusted paper clips. The other side of that map page, and I've put these in. Again, I think these was Create with Scrimping Mummy. And one of my quotes. This is kind of like a little tuck spot. You could put something in there and maybe clip it from the bottom or the top. The other side of that, I don't know what you call it, folder, picture, photo folder. A photo and then some negatives that I also picked up when I got all of this in the flea market, I think it was. Oh, did I say a friend? I can't remember now. This one particularly. I got a whole box full of negatives as well. Some more dyed ledger paper. The other side of the language book, Maltese, put a page edge on it, and Norwegian. The other side of that other and vintage paper, little tuck spot, some stamping. The other side of that vintage matte paper is Madrid, a vintage postcard photo, and 2 tickets. These I think were from Shabby Dabby Doodah. Another rusted paper clip, some more quotes. Again, a page from the Digital Collage Club, and I've done some stamping on there. The other vintage paper. This is French, and this is from the early 1900s. Another charm of the Arc de Triomphe. And this here, no, I didn't. I glued all this down. I didn't. I was going to make it a tuck, but I glued it down because it was quite heavy. Stamping. Can't remember. Stamping. That's the other side of that tender document with the signatures on. Handmade paper with a ruffle, and then here that's the other side of that first page, and I've got one of the folders that we made with Rachel's challenge, and in here I've got a vintage postcard from 1930, and then I made a big journal card to go in there from one of the map pages. And then there's a collage on the front, but this would have been seen in the Roxy's challenge anyway, because I think I showed it at the end. That's the journal. Oh, one of my quotes as well from my digital kit. And then I've just put a clip, bulldog clip there. Oh, it's not the last page, and there's some stenciling again there. And then that is the last page. So that's what I've got as the custom order. I hope she likes it. It's taken a while to make. I've sort of done it in between other projects. So thanks very much for watching. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed the video, to hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe, as all this goes a very long way to helping my channel grow. Thank you very much indeed. Bye.